All right, so the first thing you're going to need for this skip is either to always play with auto crouch jump off or enable some binds to toggle auto crouch jump, because I usually play with auto crouch jump on the whole time. And the way you do this, I have it bound to I and O so that I never accidentally hit it. And the command for that is going to look like this, and bind O CL auto crouch jump 0, and this will disable it. And then, of course, if you want to enable it, you just change that 0 to a 1. So at the start of this map, you're going to want to disable your auto crouch jump, and then we're going to need a barrel. So there's two options. You can grab this one right here, which technically might be more on the way, but there's sort of a room that we need to clear out of turrets and head crabs so that none of them mess with us while we're doing weird voodoo magic. So, and there's a barrel there too, which is pretty much just on the way. This one might technically be faster, but ultimately there's a very little time difference at all between the two. So the next thing you're going to need to do is come over here into this room. And now, in order to clear this room, I like to shoot that barrel and then throw a grenade into this corner right here. That grenade is going to blast all the head crabs and bodies and everything like that away from these doors, because that's where we're going to be clipping. I find aiming a grenade here a little bit more to the right tends to blast them out of the way much more than if I throw a grenade at the door or something like that. Sometimes there might still be a head crab here. And the reason this is important is we're going to be moving barrels in weird ways, and these bodies will have collision. The HECU soldiers' bodies, if they get destroyed, will despawn eventually. Things like the head crabs have collision too, and that can potentially mess things up, and I don't think they despawn as fast. Anyway, once you've killed everything, you want to come over here and grab this barrel. The other end of it is much better for what we're about to do. So either you walk around it or you can like flip it around like that. And then you want to make sure you are not holding grenades. What we're about to do does not work if you're holding grenades. So you switch to your revolver or whatever weapon you want. Revolver is the one I use. And then we're going to rotate our bbox. So two commands you'll find useful for this is developer 1 and then ent bbox player. So our bbox is the yellow thing around us. We have two. There's a yellow and an orange one. And we're going to be rotating the yellow one, the bbox. The way we do this, and this is also why we need auto crouch jump off. So we're going to run backwards here while looking straight down, and then at the apex of our jump, we're going to save load. That'll look a little something like this. So you'll have it, once you're stuck like this in the air, then you know you have it. And if you notice here, the yellow bbox is very slowly rotating. After rotating your bbox for 25 seconds, you can technically do less than 25, like 20, although the rest of the trick becomes very inconsistent if you do. So I would recommend at least doing 25. More than that might be overkill, but as much as you want to do it, more, as far as I know, it doesn't hurt, although there might be a point where it actually does. So 25 seconds of just sitting there letting your bbox rotate, and afterwards you're going to want to drop the barrel to fall out of it, and you'll notice the yellow bbox will look something like this. One thing to note with getting your bbox to rotate, if you don't run back far enough to get to full speed, it won't really work. So always be sure to take like a decently long running start and then jump and save load. Sometimes it's a little finicky, although usually if you wait somewhere towards the apex of your jump, it will eventually get it. It might take you 1 or 2 tries, but it should get there. Once you do have your bbox in a rotated state, there's a few things you want to avoid. So sometimes hitting certain props can reset it. I don't know about any in this area, so you should be fine in that department. Sometimes walking upstairs will also reset it, which isn't a problem here. But the biggest thing you want to avoid is ever entering full crouch. If I accidentally tap shift, it stays fine. But if I full crouch, it's going to reset my bbox, and now it's no longer rotated. So you want to avoid pressing crouch. Now we're going to take the barrel. Come over here. You're going to need to pull out your grenades. And now, if you notice, so we're going to use our weird rotated bbox to clip to this wall, this door over here. If you notice, if I back up straight into it, my yellow bbox sort of gets caught on the door and doesn't align with the base of the orange box here. So the way you can actually reset it, if you notice, the way you can actually get it aligned while leaning against the wall, is if you notice you run along here, you'll sometimes get, if you run yourself into this corner and then run to the right, you'll notice sometimes you might have to hold into it. It's a little finicky. You'll notice the yellow box here is the bbox is disconnected from where we are. So now if we move up this sort of little step and get ourselves into this corner, we'll get so far away from our bbox that we'll snap to where our feet are. That'll look a little something like this. You don't want to go too far here, otherwise it won't work. Okay, there we go. And now into the wall, and you'll notice they're set. They're lined at the bottom. And so what this does is it pushes our bbox to the wall. That's going to be important for getting stuck in this door. Anyway, barrel's too far away, so I need to do this again. That arranged properly. So we'll run into the wall, hold to the right, that reset. There you have it. And so now you're going to move all the way into the corner of this door. So you'll see we're at negative 638 there in the top right corner. And then you're going to move to the right while holding slightly into the door till somewhere between negative 662 and negative 666. And then you're going to hold straight back, so you're not moving left or right at all. And then you're going to slam as straight as you can. You're going to slam the barrel into your feet. It'll look a little something like this. So if you get any sort of speed at all, well, if you get anywhere like somewhere from like 50 or more speed, then you know that the barrel will have gotten you stuck. And you'll notice I can't move at all, and I'm stuck on this wall. So now to blast myself through, I'm going to need to give myself at least 175 speed backwards. In this case, I think I'm lucky and I can just hold the grenade like that. But sometimes you won't be able to grab it, in which case your best bet is to just sort of drop the like right hand toss the grenade down to the ground. Although that's a little finicky. So yeah, so it'll look a little something like that. That should give you some speed. You have forward velocity in this case, so you might need to throw multiple grenades. So we're looking for at least 175 in that direction. Okay, there we go. And so now, once we're stuck in the wall, we can save load. If you can hold the grenade, you only need to save load like 4 times. But if you have weird angles with your velocity and whatnot, you might have to save load up to maybe like 8 times. And then we get through the door. If you don't move over here to realign your bbox like this, then you'll notice that when you try and hit yourself with the barrel's going to start like resisting you much further, and it's almost going to teleport you forward. So that's sort of how you can tell that you didn't actually get your bbox like reset properly, and so you would want to walk back into this corner again and do it. You can technically get yourself stuck that way, but it's like really inconsistent in RNG. So I would very much actually, if you don't reset your position like this, while you might like bounce around funny or something like that with the barrel, you actually can't really get stuck in this door, or at least not reliably. So if the barrel ever teleports you forward or anything like that, then you know you need to realign your bbox and then grab it. I would also advise that when you do go for the clip, you wait a second before throwing the grenade, because sometimes you'll see your velocity increase to like 70 or something like that, 70 to 100, somewhere between there, but you won't actually you'll get unstuck very quickly. And so I'd say wait at least like a second or two, and then if you're not unstuck after that, even when you move around your arrow keys, then you know you're stuck and you can start throwing the grenades. Because again, there's no mistakes here. You cannot save load, otherwise you have to do the entire bbox rotation for 25 seconds again. Now we can pull out a revolver again, because we're going to need to shoot some scientists, and enable crouch jump if you want to, because we no longer need it disabled anymore. And now it's important that we hit a trigger here, right here. So we're going to need to hit this trigger, because if we don't, what happens is we come in here and the scientist isn't here and we can't press the button and there's no way to progress. So we do hit that button. If we do hit this trigger here, then as we enter through, the scientist is here. Shoot him so you can press the button. That's going to open that door over here, and you're on to the next map. With some reasonably better sliding than that.